So, ciao Beatrice. Thank you so much for joining me and talking with me. Let's just get started right off. White Lotus was your first American production, and getting to win a SAG award on top of that with the ensemble is incredible. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you talk about that experience getting cast and what was going through your head at the time?
Yes, yeah, of course, it was an incredible opportunity to me to be part of such an amazing project, and I'm very grateful for it because it's given me the chance to actually accede to a much more international environment. So I'm very excited. I've studied in London. I lived there for almost 4 years. So English was actually the language I learned to act in. So for me, it felt amazing. I felt like I was going back to school for a little bit, and I really loved that. I remember when I got the self tape, my heart was going so fast because I read that Mike White was looking for an Italian girl who could play the piano and sing, and also had a sort of innocent appearance at the beginning. And I felt that I was so right for the character, so I started freaking out. I remember I called my agent and I said, "Okay, this could be an amazing role for me." Because sometimes it's not really about being the best, but it's really about finding the right fit. And I felt that I was definitely in the right swimming pool to play this character. So I did the self tape. I took a whole day to do it. And then Mike White arrived in Rome and he was meeting in person some of the actresses. So I met him, and I remember saying to myself that I had to do a good job in a way that I couldn't let anything in the middle of this audition. So all my insecurities had to be out. So I walked in as the most confident person I was, and I remember, Dave Bernard, the producer, when we were filming the White Lotus, he told me, "You came in and you looked so confident," and I'm like, "Yes, I wasn't." I was just playing the part. I was like, listen, I can do this, I can do this. But I was very nervous. I remember that I arrived at the audition an hour before and I walked around the building for like an hour just to kind of let all my insecurities go away. Because I do feel that when you go to an audition, you need to be very convincing that you could do that. And then actually after the audition, a week later, I got the call, and the week after, we were already on set. So it was very, very
Wow.
fast. But it was a dream, and then I always say that I knew that this series was gonna get so much love, but I wasn't expecting for my character and also the Italian team to get all this love. I always perceived myself as a nice supporting frame character of the show. But then, as the show was going on, I realized that people were actually enjoying what we're doing. So that was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to get back to your arc with Lucia in a bit, but I feel like, you're talking about your experience, and it's this beautiful amalgamation of, you're entering this maybe foreign American production and team, but you're on your own turf. You're in Sicily, you're like an hour plus plane
Yes.
ride from home. So I feel like that would help ease things a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it felt like I was definitely stepping into something that was big. But yeah, compared to all the other cast members, I was an hour away from home. So it felt like I was playing safe somehow. But I did feel that, it was, now that I think back, it was crazy. It was crazy for me. I've always been an actress in Italy, but to just go there and work with Aubrey Plaza and Michael Imperioli and Jennifer Coolidge, it felt like a dream, and it felt like at the beginning I was like, am I gonna be able to live up to this level? I don't know. I don't know. But I knew that I was playing an Italian character, so I had that, and I had that on my side. So I knew, and also I knew that I could bring my energy to the show, and so it was great. And I also felt that the real genius of it all is Mike White. He's the creator of everything. And when you have good lines and you have a good story, all you have to do is just say it and just trust the director. I felt that my job was mainly to trust, the writer and the director, because sometimes as an actress, when you work, you feel like you've got to put a bit more into it. Maybe you feel like you're not completely in the right place and you kind of have to work harder to make it work. But in this series, everything was very smooth and natural. All the other cast members were phenomenal. So it felt like a big game. We had a great time.
I'm assuming you've seen season one, and Mike creates this incredible world of infiltrating this other culture. But this season, I feel like it's very two-way. We focus on Lucia and Mia being able to like get back at the tourists and the Americans in Italy. So you speak in Italian most of the time, but you also get to manipulate them in English a little bit. And you say you know English very well and you speak it beautifully, but it's interesting how he uses that against the American characters. So were you able to have fun with this, or how did you and Mike discuss or shape the character in this arc?
My character does not speak loads of English in the show, and also he wanted to create a sort of difference between me and Lucia. He wanted Lucia, so played by Simona, to be much more, used to speaking English, much more international, and he wanted Mia to be completely not understanding what was happening. So we kind of played that comedy of Mia being like fully Italian and not as cool as Lucia, and I thought that was very funny. But I do think that like when we were working on set, it was I think that when you act in a different language that is not your language, you bring out a different personality. And I feel that with all my friends and friends from drama school in London, they know a version of me which is slightly different from the one I am in Italy. Because when you speak English, I mean, when you speak another language, there's so many things that of your personality that does not normally come out. And also, I do also think that when you act in another language, because it's not your own voice, then there's so many other things, that kind of barriers that you normally have, that goes down, they don't exist. You just throw yourself into it. But I really hope that I'm grateful for the White Lotus, because it's given me the chance to actually be more present in international environment. And I hope that will keep going somehow, even if this job is like always a roller coaster. Like right now, I'm on a set with an international production, so it's the first film I'm doing where I actually act just in English, and I think that's a privilege, because it's good to kind of have the chance to go and work somewhere else, since not just Italy. So it was great.
Absolutely. No, that's incredible. You speak about, speaking different languages, and, there are phrases that don't translate very well. So it's interesting that, you have you, Beatrice, and then you on the show in English, and then you have this real life friendship with Simona, with Lucia, that is also, part of it is part of the show, but part of it is you in real life being friends. So I feel like there's just so much happening in the moment where it could be confusing, but also just so much fun.
Yeah, we had. I always say this, that it was so fun to work with Simona, because when you like, we were friends before, but definitely the Wild Lotus brought us closer, because friendship, it's also about feeling that you have the same vision, and we were both put in the same world, and now we're going through a very similar moment where we really understand each other, and we really have the same fear of things and the same kind of happiness. But when we were on set, we had so many games going on that people didn't know about. We had so many ways to connect to each other, and then I remember that we were having so much fun. I remember that one day we had a scene where we were just background, and all we had to do, it was just like pretend that we were drinking, but we weren't. We were just in the background because the actors, there was another scene going on. And I remember, I don't know what happened, but we started a game or something, and we started laughing so much because when I laugh, I start to cry. And when Simona laughed a lot, she like cannot control the volume of her voice, so she actually screamed to a point that people were like, what happened? So we were like, okay, we're just gonna say that you were feeling sick. So we just say this because we felt so unprofessional. So I remember Mike White came to our table and said, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And I was like, yeah, no, Simona, she wasn't feeling very well, so she screamed. But we were laughing for no reason. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and but we had
Oh
that
my God.
lot on set, and also we had lots of Italian mumbling that sometimes Mike White would say, play and say something in Italian. Sometimes we would say like crazy things that we knew people were not going to understand. But then they got translated. So, but yeah, no, it was very special. It was great to have her on set because we were like the two Italian girls
Hmm.
in this amazing world, and we were like playing the comedy of it to feel just completely randomly there. But yeah, I don't know, it was nice. And also when we went to Los Angeles, because in Italy the series is loved, but it's not as it's not a hit as it is in America. It's not the same thing. Also, because we don't stream HBO, we don't have it. But I remember that when the two of us went to Los Angeles and we were going to all these parties, and maybe we haven't seen each other for a couple of days, and we would meet at these parties like after 3-4 days, and we would see each other and go hi, maybe hug, and everybody was like losing their minds. And then I was saying, Simona, like our friendship, it's like, it's becoming, like a product. So we need to take care of it.
Hmm.
It was very nice. It was very nice. No, I feel it was just one of those things that does not happen every day. So I always keep it close to my heart.
Oh, so that's one big part of the show and the Italian that we get. The other part is with Sabrina's character with Valentina. And the season, I feel like, by the end, it's such a shift from the beginning when Valentina is hates these two girls. And then by the end, they're all friends, and Mia is helping her out a lot in so many ways. So, what was it like working with Sabrina? And did you know her before? Had you worked with her at all?
I didn't know her in person, but I knew who she was because in Italy she's well known, and she's also a great comedian. So when I found out that she was going to play Valentina, I was very excited because I was thinking she is hilarious. She's so funny, and she's gonna do a great job. I had no doubt. So it was great to work with Sabrina as well because she's very vulnerable when we work together. She's very free, and she really wants to create something that is really special on set. She always wants to create something that is real. And so it was. I just find her really funny, and she's like, as an actress, she allows herself to feel everything. So it was great. It was great. And I didn't know her before, but like we became closer when we were on set.
And a big part of this is figuring out her sexuality. And another part of the Mia character that I really love is we don't really fully know, or it's never blatantly stated what her sexuality is. And I feel like that's another complex part of the character that would be fun to play. So can you
Yeah.
talk about that? Because I mean, some of the lines that you have, like "I'm a little bit gay too," it's just really funny. And again, you get to play on the comedy, especially with her and Simona. But can you talk about that part of forming the character and developing
Yeah.
that?
I think that of course, Mia is in a moment of her life where she's really young and free, where she doesn't really think through what she's doing. She's wise because she's young, and sometimes when you're younger, I think you're very wise because you see clearly what you want. And I don't think she really judge herself or like judge other people. She's just very, very open to everything that's happening. And her dream, it's so big that gets in the way of everything. She's not worried about the consequences. And what I like about Mia is that also that she's very self-driven, but she's also very tender. She's very vulnerable. And it was nice to portray that. And she's kind of like, she grows in the show because she start off with, she's very blocked also with the sexuality she is, because she's not very confident in doing what her friend is doing, and she's also thinking about this guy who broke up with her. She's very blocked, and somehow she unblocks herself and she blossoms into this kind of out of control person who just wants to be a musician, and she realizes that she has power. But what I like about the interaction with her and with Sabrina is that they kind of help each other in a way, because she's saying, listen, I want to play the piano, and for me this means a lot. I know that you're struggling too, so maybe we could help each other, we could support each other. And it's told in a way that could seem manipulative in a way, but it's kind of a little bit of both. Because when Mia seduced Valentina, she means it. She's genuine. In the same way of Lucia seducing Albi, she means it a little bit. She could fall in love with Albi, but it's not time yet. And I think it's that specific moment of your life when you're really young that you kind of don't really think through. And then when you grow up, you want a little bit of that back, of that kind of freedom to kind of say, it's okay. It's not the end of the world if I do this. I can just. And I think, yeah, it's very beautiful. And Mike really wanted that to happen. He never wanted Mia to be seductive in that sense. He wanted her to be a friend. He wanted her to be like a young, cute girl who would just say, I'm gonna give you a gift for your birthday, and it's very sweet that we're doing this, yeah. And when she says, I'm gay too, I think she's saying, it's nothing what you're going through. It's okay. I do it too. And then she's kind of making her feel, normal, because Valentina does not accept that at the beginning. So, yeah, I think it's just very nice.
Yeah, there's such a delicacy there compared to her and Giuseppe, where you can see there's a big struggle between them, and she wants the contacts, but we kind of know that he's going to be a man about it and not deliver.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about your singing because you have a beautiful voice, and all of this is done in real time on the show, which is incredible. And I
Thank
love
you.
that. Yeah, of course. I love that it plays with the playfulness, but also the darker parts of the drama, especially that's Amore. What were some of your inspirations growing up with singing? Like, what inspired you to become a singer and an actress?
So what I love about the music I listen to, what I look into music is that it's really interesting to me to find what is the language that every musician use, because that language kind of tells who you really are. Sometimes music, it's a way to express things that you cannot express. So I'm very interested, I'm very intrigued into listening to that. So every time I listen to a new song, I also put the lyrics because I want to know what this person is going through. So for me, of course, like I've always been a very soft jazz singer, like folk singer. I love Nora Jones, but I also love Phoebe Bridgers. I love writers. I love songwriters. And when I got on set, all the songs that I rearranged, I worked on I worked on them with my piano teacher, and I kind of created a sort of jazzy lounge, sophisticated sound. But then when I went on set, Mike White was like, nah, she's not that soft. Like she's much more out there. Like she's not that sophisticated. And I was working with Esti Haim, and she's the one that told me, you need to belt that voice. You are here and you're just a young girl, and you want that person to be annoyed at you because he wants to, you want him to look at you, so you need to scream. And I told SCA, like, I don't know if, I've got that type of voice. Like, if you will ever listen to my music when it will be out, I don't know when yet, you will realize how, like, I love to sing very softly. But then with Esti, like, she really told me, you need to think of your voice as a chewing gum. It needs to kind of spread in the room and never end. So I worked on that with her, and she was great with helping me. So I found this whole new way of singing, which I think that when I went back to Rome and I had to play concert, I really brought that with me. So I'm still a soft singer, but sometimes I go a little louder because I think I'm also that too.
I love that. I guess it played with your voice. Then you got to find new boundaries for what you can sing.
Yeah.
Because I know you're working on a music project. Can you tell us anything else about that?
Yes, I'm working on my music project. It's taken time because it's hard to kind of balance my acting career with music. But I'm really passionate about it. And music, it's a place where I always go when I feel sad. So all my songs are really sad because when I'm happy, I normally go out and, have a drink. But if I'm sad, I'm home and I do music. And I think it's very important to me to do that because sometimes I manage to say things through a song that I cannot say. They're like secrets or like things that are unsayable. And with the song, everything is much more graceful. So it's kind of like a cheeky, like, how can I say, like a sneaky way to say what I want to say. So I'm working with an Italian manager now, and I met different producers as well. So when I went to Los Angeles, I had the chance to connect with musicians that I love. So I'm working on it, and at some point something will be out. I don't know when yet. And also I'm also writing in English, and so I'm finding that kind of expression, like kind of that type of music too. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, and cross my fingers too. One final question. We know that there's a potential for an all-star season, as Mike has said, for White Lotus. Whether or not you come back, who knows at this point. Where do you see Mia a year or two after the show has ended and we see them walking off back in Sicily?
I don't know if it would be funnier if she became this famous Italian pop star, like famous, super famous, but not sophisticated at all, like pop musician who doesn't really know what she's doing, like she's just like singing, or if she completely failed and she's like singing in the streets and she's like trying to, she still have this dream of being a musician, but she'll never get there. I don't know. But I definitely, I don't know what would be funnier. I would love to see like a broken dream, and I would love to see how that kind of, that kind of exists in the White Lotus, like, and how she would deal with that, and what would she do? Maybe she's a criminal now, and she kills people. I don't know. I would love that.
Yeah, either way, I think it would be fun for Mia to return, of course.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. It would be a dream.
Well, thank you, Beatrice, again, so much for being here today. Grazie mille.
Grazie a te.